Boom shakalaka turner.
Welcome back to the Millennial Classics Show. My name is Q, and on this channel, we do millennial reviews and classic reactions. And today, we are back doing a One Piece thing, but we're doing it a little bit special. No reaction today. We are going to be doing, you see the title, the 30 strongest characters in One Piece. And I do have a friend that is going to help me get through this amazing list because it is the true list. This is Lucas. And for those who don't know, Lucas is who actually introduced me into the One Piece world. I mean, I am thankful to no end for Lucas getting me into One Piece. And for my first One Piece discussion, I am so happy to have you on to do this with me. Before we are going to go down this list together. And I think we should just really jump into it. You did mention to me that you had a couple of honorable mentions, and I do too. So I'd like to share those with you. You being the guest, why don't you go ahead and jump right on into it?
Yeah, how many do you have? Because I have quite a few too.
This is my honorable mentions list. Going down my can't wait to see in action, because I have a whole category, as you guys can see, of folks I can't wait to see in action. I couldn't even put them in my honorable mentions because I haven't seen them move. I haven't seen them fight. So it's unfair to put any of these people in the can't wait to see in the honorable mentions because it would not be honorable. It'd be dishonorably mentioning them. And as you can see in my list, it's basically everyone that matters. In Shanks' crew, in Blackbeard's crew, and then I had to add the Revolutionary Army members, the Bello Betty, what's his name? You know, this fat jiggly dude?
Yeah, I forget his name.
Lindenberg, all of these boys, Weevil's in this, Smoothie's in this, and I know these are big names, but we're talking about the top 30 here, right? These are big names in the story, and I want to give them the respect that they deserve, but I don't feel right putting them over anybody that I actually seen do something worth mentioning. And then my honorable mentions list is all the boys, all the bad boys that I have seen do some shit that just didn't make the fucking cut.
I'm seeing some big people in there.
Of course you're seeing some big people, because these big people...
Some powerhouses. I'm curious who's in your top 30 then.
You will be amazed, baby.
I think
so just looking at my honorable mentions list, anything that you just right away just being like, this is bullshit, you disagree.
Let's see, Marco.
Yeah, okay.
That's probably the only one that's like, he should definitely be top 30. Everyone else, I think you can make a case for out of top 30.
Okay.
We have some overlap, actually. Let me see who I have. I have Doflamingo in there.
Good
I have
one.
Crocodile. I have Weevil, although you have Weevil and can't wait to see in action, which is fair. We haven't seen
But
much.
the thing is, yeah, because there's literally like, I think 2 scenes of Weevil, and one of the scenes is him saying, I'm Whitebeard's son, right? I mean, that's the only thing we've seen of him, right?
Based on his introduction alone, where they were kind of hyping him up, like saying he's taken out a lot of Marines recently. He's going after the remnants of the Blackbeard pirates.
Exactly.
That alone is kind of, he has some clout, So he's not top 30 because, right, we haven't seen it.
Exactly.
But he is, he's honorable mentions for me. I also have NL. I don't know if you have NL anywhere.
I do have
wild card.
No, Enel is my wild card. He is in the top 30. He's in my top 30.
Oh, okay.
100%. Oh, and for those who don't know, I am only an anime watcher. I have only watched anime, and I told Lucas specifically when we were making this list, I said this is a post-Wano top 30 list. This is not an up-to-date with the manga. It's not even an up-to-date list with the anime. It's just at the end of Wano. It's a great place to do this, to rank these folks at the end of Wano. I hope that's the mindset and the perspective you used when you were making your list. Okay, very good.
I'm rewinding my memory to a year ago. I am Lucas from a year ago.
So this is the list, and just going down mine, it got Doc Sama, Cat Sama, Kobe, Cracker. Cracker, I feel like he was disrespected in the Candyland.
If anything, he was hard countering Luffy. Luffy won because Nami was there to soften the crackers so his goofy ass could eat them.
And that's the thing about One Piece. It's because some people, like Boa Hancock being on this list, like strength, if you're talking the top 30 strongest, is she in that? No, but her devil fruit is hacked to no end. It makes One Piece such a hard thing to rank. So it's a lot of bias. It's a lot of what you like.
Yeah, I mean, there's bias is a big part of One Piece power scaling. So let me see who else I have overlapped here. Actually, I have Smoothie. Oh, you have Can't Wait to See in Action. That's fair. I have Killer. You have Killer in honorable mention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he barely, he didn't squeak it out. And Magellan, you also have Magellan. Okay,
Yes.
I like
Magellan
that.
is that dude, though. The thing is, if you think back to Impel Down, Magellan by himself fought Luffy, fought Blackbeard, fought Jinbei, and these motherfuckers were running away from him. Yes,
He
it's
didn't.
free
He didn't
time
even
skip.
fight Blackbeard. He just one shot his whole crew.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying. I know it's pre time skip, but if everyone that we have seen post time skip has grown, why wouldn't the person that's in charge of keeping the fucking prisoners not have grown like everybody else? If he grows the same way everybody else does, he
I think
probably is top 30.
rate of growth of some of these characters from the beginning of the time skip to now is just it's
Exponential.
outrageous.
It's yeah. I mean,
So
speaking
yeah,
of the main character of the show, it doesn't sometimes it's like, wait a hot second, because it is insanity. What are your thoughts on Crocodile? The only reason he's on this list is because I saw he's on the trio gilded crew. What is it called? The guild crew?
Cross Guild.
That's the only reason I have him up here. Like, do you
Um,
think he should be on this list, even
yeah,
in the honorable
Crocodile's in my
mentions?
honorable mentions too. Is there a little inconsistency with like pre-time skip Luffy beating Crocodile? Like sure, but like now he's portrayed as a lot stronger.
And then last thing before we actually get into the list, Kobe. I just had to add Kobe because he's like the chopper of the top 30. Like I just like him, I'm rooting for the kid. I want good things.
Yeah, I mean, based on where Kobe should be by the end of the series, it's only fair that he is at least in honorable mentions. I mean, funnily enough, I don't have him in there, but I think I just forgot about him. One last thing,
Yeah.
going back to Crocodile in the Marineford War, him and Doflamingo were sort of portrayed as equals. Yeah, we actually have a lot of overlap there, which I like.
Let's jump into this. Okay, so my number 30 is NL. I know you were mentioning earlier, is he on my list? Yes, he is on my list, and he is 30. When I first got into watching One Piece, my person that I would watch for the reviews and the conversations and the understandings for what's going on was King of Lightning. And I don't know if I just grew up picturing NL as some crazy being, but the truth of the matter is he was this dude on Sky Island with the most epic observation haki we have seen to this day. NL's observation, to hear what people are saying, whispering around him on an entire fucking island, is observation haki at a different level. It's that Kobe status of him hearing everything on Marineford, like all at the same time. That is what NL had before we had a word for it. They called him a god.
I can agree with that. And don't worry, I think if KOL made a list, he'd put him in there too. He'd
Oh,
sneak
good.
him in there. There was a quote from Oda that he said if NL was a pirate on the blue sea, not in the sky, that he'd have a bounty of 500 million. This is a big deal back
Whoa.
this is pre-time skip, and like nobody had a bounty of 500 million, and now we're in post-time skip. And I mean, if NL has been, I don't know, if he
Doing
has some
his
armament,
thing. Yeah.
if he's upped his combat abilities, I think you can make a case for sure. My number 30 is actually Boa Hancock.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh
I don't know if
shit.
if that's my bias. I think you said so. She was in your honorable mentions, and you
Yep.
mentioned how maybe like strength alone, she's like not top 30. But I mean, I remember from the Marineford War, she was kicking the pacifistas left and right, no problem, cracking them. Like that's some strength. I know it's stone, but like, and she's got the moves too. She has hockey.
Yes.
All the Kuja pirates have hockey.
I understand why you have her on the list. And there are a couple of devil fruits that kind of just put you in that category of top tier One Piece characters. And, One Piece is like literally 1,000 characters. So top tier is probably like top 30. There's just a couple of devil fruits that all you have to do is chew on the fruit and you're on that list because it's so haxed. And it just is. It just is. The fact that Blackbeard wants to get Boa Hancock's devil fruit.
Oh, I didn't know you saw that.
Oh yeah, that's literally the last episode I just did a reaction to. Boa Hancock literally told Blackbeard, it's like, it's because I'm beautiful. That's why the stoning works. You're fucking disgusting. It's not going to work. But like, is that true? Is it the devil fruit or is it Boa Hancock's looks plus the devil fruit?
I think it's both, but I think it's kind of irrelevant for this conversation because she has the devil fruit.
Yes, she
we're
still has
ranking
it.
her.
Exactly.
She turned two of his captains into stone too, just like that.
Exactly.
That's one which was a female. So the limits aren't, the limits are endless, honestly.
That is a good point.
If they find her beautiful, male or female, doesn't matter. She turned two of his boys in a stone just like that.
And that's great to hear, but Blackbeard is a disgusting being. I don't know who looks at him and thinks, oh, he's decent looking. I don't think anyone thinks of Blackbeard as decent looking, right?
Yeah,
Like,
no, I'm not. Yeah, I know.
okay. I just wanted to make sure I thought you were arguing that if Blackbeard had it, as long as someone thinks he's good looking. I'm like,
No,
no
no,
one.
no. I'm saying Boa, like because they found her beautiful, they turned to stone just
Oh
like that,
yes,
which is
yes.
quite the feat. It can be used on stronger people too. So yeah, I think she
Um,
definitely has a case for 30.
my number 29 is Jesus Burgess. Jesus Burgess.
Burgess, yeah.
Burgess. Okay. I don't want to spoil any more of my list, but I have to say this: that there's only two captains that have more than one person on this list. Does that make sense to you?
There's only two captains that have.
There's only two captains that have more than two crewmates on this top 30 list. Blackbeard has to be one of them. So that's why I've got Jesus Burgess, however you say his name, because Blackbeard is endgame, right? And the way I see it is, if Blackbeard is endgame and Jesus was his right-hand man until Shiryu arrived, I know that when Luffy goes up against Blackbeard, it's going to be Sanji and Zoro versus Jesus and Shiryu. So he has to be like at that level. Him being on my list is on lore alone, because I do know at Dressrosa, Sabo kind of punked him. Like,
Yeah, that's why he's not on my list. I use that logic too for, if they're, right hand man, and then, who is their captain? How strong is their captain? What is their captain's portrayal?
yes.
For me, if we look at the old emperors like, Big Mom, Kaido, and Shanks, and Blackbeard, of course, that Blackbeard, in my opinion, is the newest. He's the weakest. He has the lowest bounty. For that reason, I feel like his crew is also the weakest. I mean, when he went up, 1v1 against Shanks in the war, he said, "Yo, we're not ready yet, boys.
Yeah,
Back out."
he did say that.
I think Burgess was always portrayed as second in command pre-time skip. I think Shiryu kind of yoinked that spot. I think kind of like Shanks's crew, Blackbeard's crew, they're kind of paralleled in a way. A lot of people under second in command are kind of equal, I feel like they have a lot of, it's kind of like Luffy's crew too. Like Kaido's and Big Mom, like you have, like for Kaido's, right, you have King and Queen, then Jack. Like there's clear separations. You have Katakuri, first commander, second and third, but I feel like you have your right hand man for Blackbeard and Shanks, and then you have kind of everyone else. And I think they're kind of interchangeable in a sense. And I feel like Burgess kind of falls into that category, especially because he got so dunked on by Sabo. And Sabo at that point, I think, was pretty close to Fujitora. So here's Burgess getting absolutely demolished by someone who's around Admiral. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
I feel
I
like
can
he's just
understand.
a strong guy. I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason for you to have to agree with me, but I can very easily get argued out of having him on my list. It's just lore for me, and I don't see anyone else on Blackbeard's crew that Sanji is going to fight at the end game. So, like, the way I picked him is like, who is Sanji going to fight on Blackbeard's crew when it comes down to it? And I didn't see anybody else. So that's why I picked him.
Okay, my 29 is Queen.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yes. Okay. I can definitely understand that.
Yeah, I mean, sort of the same logic I was just talking about with Kaido and Big Mom. I think they're above Blackbeard. Like even now, still, definitely for sure. And I think their crews are more fleshed out. His second in command is King, and then under him is Queen. And I don't think there's a huge gap between those two. And I mean, Queen fought Sanji. My Zoro and Sanji are pretty close. Smoothie isn't here because we haven't seen anything from her. I think she has the potential to be around Queen, but again, we haven't seen anything from her. And because Burgess is like, I don't know, just not that definitive third person in my mind, that I didn't have him here either. And just that's
I'm very happy to tell you, I can't wait until the end game where I can laugh in your face and tell you that Burgess would wipe the floor with Queen. The thing about the thing about Queen, and I'm not gonna, let me just tell you, Sanji is my 28. The thing about Queen, and I think it's perfect transition here from Queen to Sanji. As exciting as he was, once Sanji got his power up or his body's like reforming exoskeleton situation happened, Queen's fucking sword broke on Sanji while he was looking away and not thinking about him. Sanji one-shotted Queen. And I understand that this is to let the folks at home know, let us know that Sanji's on a different level. But when Zoro got control of Enma, King was still in the fight with him. Once Sanji got his level up, it was over. There was no competition. Sanji was having a fight with himself in his head. That's why I have Queen as an honorable mention, because Sanji was confused. Did I hit this girl? Was that me? And then he's calling Zoro, like writing his suicide note while Queen is doing all of this crazy shit. He got one-shotted by Sanji after he got his upgrade. I can't respect him, and I do believe I can't wait till we do this next year after whatever arc is going to happen, and we find out that Burgess would mop the floor with Queen. But anyways, explaining that situation, the Queen and Sanji fight, Sanji has the ability of being so much higher on this list because what he did to Queen after the exoskeleton, it is crazy to me where he can go.
I think for Queen, I think it's disingenuous to say he one-shot Queen because there's even a quote in there where he's like, you may not want to show it, but you've been taking damage this whole time, as have I. So they're both on their last legs at that point. Sanji gets his power up. Yeah, he does him in.
Wait, is that real? Because maybe
Yeah.
I missed it. But
I
is
mean-
that legitimately real? Because the way it looked in the anime, and remember, you
Like
guys,
Queen,
I'm not
okay.
a manga reader. In
Yeah.
the anime, it looked like his skeleton was broken. He starts to get that weird sensation. He's like, why does my body feel good again? And the next thing you know, he's like contemplating all these things in his head. He's not even paying attention to the fight, running away. He thinks he hits a girl. He finds out that Queen did it and then knocks him out with that Iftar Jimbei jump, whatever,
yeah,
blue flame leg.
Yeah, that's how it went down. But if we pretend this is like a video game, right? It's not like Queen was at 100% before the power up, like his HP bar, right? He
I
was
see.
he was
Okay.
hurt.
Okay.
He was
Okay.
definitely hurt. And
Yeah.
Sanji, like the dialogue was there for a reason to tell us that Queen was not at 100% and Sanji
Okay.
was not at 100%. I
Gotcha.
don't know if he was at 50, if he was at 30, whatever, but he was not at
Yeah.
100%. And then the power up made Sanji made quick work of him after that.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
That's
and like
fair.
Queen, I don't know. I mean, he was, making moves on Luffy earlier in the arc too. All right, my 28 is Rob Lucci.
Hey, please explain.
Maybe a
Please
little
explain.
bit of maybe a little bit of bias. The fact we see him again recently at the end of Wano, and we see him talking to CP0. You got to get Robin this and that. We see Kaku again, and just like the role they had in the story, like I said, it was way more relevant than like a lot of characters and a lot of Marine characters. And the fact that like Oda wants to bring him back again, like Rob Lucci, I don't know, he's just that guy. He has a sick devil fruit. He's been training like his whole life. Lucci, I don't know if you remember his backstory, it's a long time ago, but he has a hard backstory. Like that shit goes hard. Maybe not a lot of logic to it, but Rob Lucci's my guy. So I just threw him in the top 30. I had to.
Oh, and that's fair. Look, I'm not going to argue about all the things, but I disagree with you wholeheartedly just because the way the CP0 got treated, man. When I was watching Wano, I had to come to the realization that the government needs numbers where the pirates just need like the guy. Like the pirates are on a different level. I appreciate what they did with Green Bull because he's going to be coming up on this list for me at least soon. I appreciate what they showed Green Bull doing to Queen and King and how he took out all of these guys. But the way Green Bull came in and took care of them was huge. But then right after that, Shanks fucks him up by just telling him to walk away. Emperors versus the admirals makes the government look so weak. So that's the only reason I'm going to push hard back on that. But my 27 is King, since we are talking about Wano.
Yeah.
I'm just going to also just tell you, the reason I have King here is because I have Zoro at 26. This fight was super epic, and it was hard for me not to put King at 27 and not to drop him out like I dropped Queen and put him high up on my honorable mentions, just because, again, Zoro did get close to death. Look, Luffy is clearly very close to endgame Luffy, right? At least I think he is, because Gear 50, it's literally limitless, right? And I feel like Zoro is as close as we are going to see him to endgame Zoro. I don't see another time skip happening. I don't see any major shit happening outside of his blades becoming truly black. And King put up the biggest fight I've seen with Zoro since Crocodile's dude. You remember Crocodile? Yeah.
Mr. One.
Mr. One. So it was just the most epic fight. I would argue to say that the last bit of Zoro versus King I liked it a little bit more than Luffy's huge fist punching Kaido. And I just appreciate the right-hand man in most of the great crews, the right-hand man usually just, calls my name. So it's
I
lore,
know.
it's just the actual animation of the anime, and it's the fact that he was going up against my favorite character is why I made him 27. I have to put Zoro at 26 because Zoro was looking at death after the fight. Literally staring at death's eyes after fighting
Mhm.
King. So that's my reasoning for both 26 and 27.
No, I like that. I can get behind that. I'm just surprised. I know you love your Zoro, that he's not higher, actually.
I wish I could. If I could, I would, but I gotta be honest.
Because my Zoro's higher than your Zoro, and that's
Oh
surprising.
shit.
Yeah. Okay, so my, what are we on? 27
Yep.
is Shiryu.
Oh shit. Okay.
I'll do my 26 too. My 26 is Lucky Roo. Do you know? Do you know?
Oh
Yeah.
yes, that's the fat dude, right? Yes, I know Lucky Roo.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Yeah, Lucky Roo and Shiryu. I think these two are kind of interchangeable. I'm not totally sure because we haven't really seen much of either. I just put Shanks's crew at like, I don't know, I hold them to the highest standard because Shanks, like what we saw at the end of Wano was just insane.
It's insane. It's
Shanks
insane.
is just, he's definitely
Yeah.
that guy. Shiryu, like we talked about earlier, portrayed to be secondhand man of Blackbeard. But because I hold Blackbeard in like a lower regard, he's the weakest emperor. He has the lowest bounty. He has the least experience. Shiryu just, I couldn't put him too high. But I think in time, like he's definitely going to rise by the end of the series, just like Jesus Burgess. Lucky Roo, like I said, he's part of Shanks's crew. I find him to be like third-ish in command along with Yasop. Just because he's Usopp's dad, I couldn't put him too high. Like I'm sure he's a sick sniper and he probably has some insane observation hockey.
Yeah, because you could
Yeah.
literally say the same thing about Usopp. He's a sick sniper and his observation hockey is probably great. But what does that mean? Usopp's a punk, like
That's my
with
boy
all-
right there. Come on.
Yeah, with all due respect, he just kind of is a punk.
Yasop was probably my 31, honestly, but Lucky Roo, I view him as higher. He's been there since day one. He's under Shanks.
But so let me ask you this, because that's why I had that entire section of can't wait to see them in action. Because
Yeah.
how would you differentiate him from all the other boys who've been there since the beginning?
Can you tell me the names of like the other four captains he has? Like probably not, right?
No,
I
there's
feel
no
like you
way.
probably didn't
I
even
know
they
that there's a
existed
dude that has a
until
monkey
Marineford.
in his name. Monkeys is in his mouth. I mean, a monkey's holding. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they could be as strong, kind of like I did compare them to Blackbird's Spear, they're kind of interchangeable, but I think
Yeah.
on portrayal alone, like Jesus and Shiryu stand out.
Yeah. Okay.
And then it's kind of like everyone else.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I had Lucky. Maybe he could be a little lower. I'm not too sure, but I think he's under Shanks and he's kind of that boy too. So
Just
I'm
looking at our list together, I love the fact that, oh, well, I thought it was going to be Zoro and Shiryu next to each other, but I love that. Okay, so my 25 is very simple. This doesn't need a long explanation for my 25 because it is Yamato. And this is strictly because she held her own against her dad. And I really thought about this really hard. I don't know if Kaido would honestly go all out. He's this fucking crazy, psychotic, drunk monster. He's a beast, right? I don't know if you would honestly go all out with Yamato, but you have to understand, in the entire Wano arc, only two people went one-on-one with Kaido. One of them was Luffy, and the other was Yamato. She's got the hockey. She's got conquerors, right?
Yeah, she did when she was a kid.
She has everything that's like that could get her to being number 25. The fact that she's Kaido's kid, and she's got an epic fucking looking devil fruit. I would love to still see it more in action, but it's still a dope ass devil fruit. And she's the only other person who went one-on-one with Kaido.
Oh yeah, Yamato has a lot of feats for sure. Like she one-shot ulti early on when she was in her form. When she when
This
she
was
saved
before
Luffy.
the chains. Before the chains were off. It was
I mean, she
before
has
the-
her chains were on. It's not like
Yeah.
her hands were together, but her chains were on, and she smacked she smacked Oldie, and she one-shot her pretty much, put her out of commission for quite a while. When I asked myself, like, is Zoro higher than Yamato? Could he tussle with Kaido for that long? And I just don't think so. Yeah, I have her higher in my list too. But let's see, my 25 is Marco.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I'm very surprised. Like, I think that was the person I said on your honorable mentions that is not in your top 30.
Yes, you are.
Because I find it kind of wild that you would think that like Enel and Jesus Burgess are higher than Marco.
Can I just say this though? Can I say this about Marco? Because yes, I have all of the right-hand men on this list except for Marco. He did hold off both Queen and King in Wano, but like I expected a lot more, bro. Like
You
I
have to remember that he's OP because he can heal endlessly, but cost stamina. And there was one point in the arc where all like the ice Oni guys were going crazy, and he used his flames on them. The
Oh,
entire like a
yes.
hundred
Oh,
samurai
okay.
soldiers, and he got exhausted from that. He was tossing the big mom. He used all his flames to heal people, and then he fought king and queen on top of it. I mean, like he did a lot, and then he
No,
was
you're right.
exhausted. He didn't lose, right? He didn't get beat up.
No,
He literally was out of commission because he was out of stamina. He was just chilling on the ground. And he
that
came back
is,
again when he needed to save Nami because he wasn't physically hurt, but
yeah.
he was drained of stamina. So I think it's only fair that Marco of all people makes top 30.
Of course, I'm not going to rejigger my list, but I forgot that he did that Naruto Nine Tail shit.
Yeah,
I
I
do
mean,
like your argument. I think your Marco argument is probably the one that would make me change my list immediately. I really like that argument, but just watching the anime, if you forget about how much he had to do, he did kind of come out useless. When the fight was happening, I thought it was going to be Marco versus Jack, right? I thought that was going to go down, and then I would be like, oh shit, this is
yeah, I
real.
mean, storytelling reasons he can't like win, right?
Of
It's
course,
got
yeah,
to be Sanji and Queen and Zoro
yeah,
and
yeah,
King
yeah,
per
yeah,
usual.
yeah. Of
But
course,
like, yeah, I mean, Oda wanted to show him off, and I think he did. If you remember that one episode, had really nice animation when he was 1v2ing them, like
it was
pretty
dope.
well
It was
too.
dope. Yeah, that was some dope ass animation
Like
too.
he didn't get touched. He was just kind of mopping the floor with them. And it's
Yeah,
it's really a battle of stamina versus endurance, right? They're the
a lot
tanky
of the time.
guys. He's fast, he's strong, but he can run out of stamina. And he did a lot that arc too. That's ultimately what it came down to. He just ran out of stamina.
My number 24, probably my favorite right hand man is Katakuri.
Oh, can I just tell you who my 24 is?
Who's your 24?
Katakuri.
Hey, see, this is why we do these things. But I just need to figure out how to spell his name. But please tell me why he's your 24.
So in terms of right hand men, I think he's my aside from Ben Beckman, he is okay. No, I still have King above him, but I'll spoil my 23. My 23 is King.
Oh,
But
perfect.
those two where it's hard for me to say which is stronger. They are totally different in terms of what they can do, right? One is like we've been saying durability. The other is observation hockey. He's kind of a glass cannon, right? Kategori if he gets hit.
Yep,
I mean, he fended off Gear 4 for a while, but like he is nowhere near King's durability. But his speed, his observation hockey, hitting him is the problem, right? Unless
exactly.
you have that Luffy future sight to compete or insane speed, there's it like just even getting that contact is going to be really tough. If he won or lost against Luffy, is still for debate to this day because he fell down on
Exactly.
his own
After he got,
knowingly
yep, exactly.
against our main character just like
Yes,
one arc ago.
yes,
So
yes.
I think anyone who's making a top 30 list would put Katakuri at the upper end of right hand men for sure.
And I love that you did both of them because both of these right hand men, they have like Kings when he has his flame on. He's indestructible with the flame and then he's fast as hell without. Truly makes it truly impossible to catch these boys. And even in Snake Man, Gear 4th, Luffy was having trouble. One of my favorite scenes in One Piece, just like action scenes, is when
Hmm.
Luffy's doing his fucking, it's not the Cobra Gatling gun, but it's like
With the
just
Black Mamba.
the Mamba. Katakuri turns into Mochi and squirms through all of it's one of the greatest fights.
Yeah,
You know, it
he hit
was
him with
one of
that
the
Kobe.
exactly.
Black Mamba, baby.
And the cherry on top of all of it is he stood up and decided to fall on his own after the fight. Like what you said, it makes it really hard to be like Luffy truly won that fight because
Yeah, it was
did
pretty much
he
a tie, but
exactly. This is on lore, and this is probably a recent bias. I've got 23 as law.
Okay. I think that's
And
fair.
and my 22. I only
Okay.
have so
You have Kid over Law.
I know I
Oh
have
no, that is very controversial actually. There
the
are very few people who would agree on that.
the thing is it's like law is devil fruit hacks like that's what law is. He's just the dopest devil fruit at like the most hacks possibilities ever, right?
Yeah, you can stop right there.
Exactly. And that's why I have him there. I like Kid so much more because he has that spirit of Luffy where it's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care at all. I am always going to fight no matter what. Losing is not an option. The only way you'll ever stop me is if I die. And I would put that over a Hacks Devil Fruit any day, especially when it's close, especially when they're close. Do you want to say that Law did the finishing move for Big Mom? No, because he was the reason she couldn't protect herself. Kid was the one who did the big blast beaming thing. But you can switch those any day of the week for me, and I wouldn't blink an eye. But I just like Kid's attitude towards being a pirate more than I like Law's. But Law does have a hack's fruit.
I mean, he has a Luffy spirit for sure, but like it's not like Law tapped out early too. He was getting pounded by Big Mom.
Oh
He
yeah,
stuck it in there. He knew what he had to do. He may not be as vocal about it, but Law's still gonna stick it in there till he does the job. And he did do the job. He did a ton of damage to Big Mom. His attack where Shock Willie, where he goes all the way down to the earth,
oh my god,
to the center of the earth or whatever, is absolutely nuts.
it's insane.
And
It's insane.
it's kind of hard to tell in the anime, but like the crater he makes is like it's like the size of a mountain. Like
Yeah.
it's actually nuts because Big Mom falls in it, right?
Exactly.
And she's like a little speck, and she falls in that, and like yeah, he made that, and that's like the damage that she's taking internally. But
It reminds me of the good old Law days at Punk Hazard when he slides Virgo. Yo, when
yeah.
that happened, people would on Law's dick like I've never seen before. Yeah, like I said, you could get me to flip these two any day of the week.
Okay, yeah, I won't argue. My 22 is Sanji.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sanji above Katakuri. Sanji above King. King, I might understand, but Sanji above Katakuri? Really? Sanji above Marco?
I mean, hey, you were gassing up Sanji yourself earlier, so
Yes, I know.
don't come at me then. If you look at the end, like if we take a Sanji, if he had what he had at the very end of the fight, and he had it the entire fight, like how much quicker would that fight have?
Oh, yeah.
Like he's fast, right? And now he's faster and he's stronger. Like everything that he was missing out on, he got from this power up. And he moved so fast that Queen thought he went invisible.
Exactly.
Like he's literally moving at like the speed of light. It's like nuts, like what Sanji is now. Like you said, what did Queen do? He swung his sword and it cracked. Sure, there's no hockey on it, but like he is super durable. I think you could definitely interchange my 24 through 22. Like it might be a little wild to say Sanji's above Katakuri and King, but I don't know. It's hard to say because we haven't seen like a fresh Sanji with this power up.
No, we haven't. But like, do you think he could beat King? Like real talk. Do you think that Sanji could go toe to toe with King and come out the victor?
I feel like if Zoro is reacting and cutting King when he turns off his flame, that's Sanji, who's a lot faster, should
A
be able
lot
to do the
faster.
same.
No, you're right. I think you're right.
I wouldn't say he's like a counter, but like he could definitely keep up and like get hits in at the right time. It's kind of a durability thing. Like, is his endurance going to keep up long enough, or is King's endurance going to hold, keep him in the battle? But like, I don't know, maybe a bad matchup. I'm not sure because like if I put him against Katakuri, I feel like Sanji has the speed, sort of like how Snake Man kept up with Katakuri because he was so fast. Sanji's so fast, he can keep up with Katakuri. And he could, yeah, I feel like Sanji definitely beats Katakuri now. So it's like I'm not gonna do matchups because like one may be a better matchup than another. Like I think
in
overall,
general,
if we look at what Sanji has, like the whole package, I think there's definitely an argument that overall he deserves that 22 spot.
Yeah, because you're right. When you do matchups, it becomes very, very difficult because Sanji is losing to Boa Hancock every time, Like
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Before he even sees her, And this is my very first government employee. Fuji, my boy. Fuji Tora is okay. Let me try to figure.
That is disrespect.
Wait, do you really think so? Like, do you really think so?
I do think so.
Okay, I know he's an admiral. I understand it, but we saw him address Rosa, and I know he's bringing meteorites from the fucking from the fucking space, from the skies, right? And he brings them down raining without a thought. And obviously, this man's observation hockey is on a different level. The dude's blind, and he moves as agile as any other person with two very good eyes. But like when Oda writes a strong character, you can feel the aura around that character. They're not as nice as Fujitora. The dude is too understanding. He's too nice. He wants to give credit to the people who deserve credit. It's like I want him to be a little bit more of an animal, right? Does he have the dog in him when the fight gets down to it? I don't know if he does.
Okay. See, now that I look at my list again, like I said, you could like copy paste your 28 through now even 21 and just move it up on mine. So I'm curious to see who you have, like where I have like my Fujitora and my Kid and my Law, and like who you have above them, because we still have 20 people, and I'm just very curious. You have an admiral at 21. I'm very very curious
because there's yeah, okay, you'll see.
My 21 is Zoro.
Okay, perfect. I don't know if we need to go too deep because if your explanation,
like a year 20, 26, 27, 28, my 21, 22, 23, it's like it's pretty much the same thing, same three people.
Yeah, with your explanation of Sanji, it has to make sense that Zoro is the person right above him. It has to.
I mean, yeah,
It has
I
to.
love Sanji, but just, thematically, he'll never be above
He'll
Zoro.
never be above Zoro. Yeah. And we
As
saw
much
the
as I love him,
bounties,
and
right?
I don't want him to be above Zoro, but they're always neck and neck. I always go back to the explanation when people are like, oh, Zoro's so much stronger than Sanji. In Enies Lobby, where they use the little door key system. I don't know if you remember that. It's like a little
Yeah.
power system where they what's his name? Fukuro? I forget. The big fat guy goes chapapa. That guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
They hit into him to see how strong they are, and they give him like a number ranking. And Kaku, who is Zoro's opponent, I think 2200, and Jabra, who was Sanji's opponent, was 2180. And you can see how close those two numbers are.
Of
And then
course.
when what was Rob Lucci? He was 4000, almost double. And I think that power differential has stayed pretty true throughout the whole series. Zoro and
100%.
Sanji are neck and neck, and then Luffy
And
is
then Luffy's
always
nearly double. Yeah, he's
higher.
like, yeah. Right after Fujitora, this is where I have my Shiryu. We're getting to the place where a few of the people you've already said are on my list, and a few of the people I've already said are on your list. So we
Yeah.
might be able to move a little faster. The reason you'll see that I have a lot more government people up top. The only reason I want to keep them there is because of what the story is telling me. The feats are not there for me to believe that the government is as strong as they are, but the story is telling me that the government is the one like running the show. So I have to respect the story. So I think Shiryu needs to be here because I want him to be above one of the admirals, because I need Blackbeard's crew to just be that crazy. And like I
I'm
said,
sensing a little bias.
of
I like
course
that.
yeah, because Blackbeard's crew, like I said, there's only one other crew where there's two people. Yeah, so Shiryu and Jesus Burgess, that's on my crew.
Okay, and I respect that. I think for your point about admirals, like they rule the seas or whatever, or not admirals, just the Marines in general. So you're like, oh, a Yonko is stronger than an admiral, but right, a Yonko is they're their own entity, right? They're
Exactly.
say Kaido's crew, it's Kaido, it's King, it's Queen, it's Jack, right? But the Marines, it's everyone. So, right, it's not like the Yonk are teaming up to go against the Marines. Like we're having a little battle royale here. So, if you have Fujitora, I'm hoping that your other admirals aren't too far ahead, because I want to say, like, in terms of the story, if you're an admiral and someone else is an admiral, that you're all pretty close.
There's a little bit of a gap.
Okay, we'll see. Okay, so my 20 is Kid.
Oh shit. Okay. You really like these worst generation. I mean, shit. Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I almost respect that. Oh well, okay. Okay.
I mean, if we compare them to like sort of the order, it's the same. I have Kid above Zoro and Sanji. You
Yeah.
have Kid above Zoro and
Yeah.
Sanji.
Yeah.
And King and Katakuri, and we agree that he's above the right hand man for sure. I mean, him and Law did take down an emperor. In what fashion? Were there some caveats? Blah blah blah. Sure.
Of
Was
course,
she
but
still conscious when she fell down? Yeah. How much damage did they really do? Who knows? But they did at the end of the day take down a Yonko. He has portrayal similar to Luffy. Same with Law.
mhm.
I mean, they all have 3 billion bounty. I couldn't in my right mind put him below Zoro and Sanji.
Yeah.
It's
No,
not
that
fair.
makes
They're
sense.
captains of their crew, right?
Mhm.
So that's my logic for
And it's sound logic. It's very, very sound logic. And I think this is where you might start losing your shit with me, because my 19, my 19 is Ben Beckman.
Oh, okay.
because because he's still the second hand man, right? So I can't have him above any of the big wigs.
I know. I'm just like, who are the other 18 bigwigs that he's not above?
Like that's I want to. Okay, we'll get there when we get
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
I can't say much about him because this is completely on lore alone, and just for my respect of Shanks. That's the only reason he's 19.
Let me tell you something about Ben Beckman that you may not remember in Wano. When we saw that Kid was in jail with Luffy, and there's a little part about like, oh, you lost your arm, Kid, because he had his arm before. It's when he had a little scuffle with the red-haired pirates, and he didn't even get to see Shanks. That's what he said, which is like
Oh
massive
shit!
disrespect on Kid's part. He didn't even get to Shanks, and he lost his arm. And a lot of people were theorizing the one who took his arm was Ben Beckman. So that's why my Ben
Let me.
Beckman, as is yours, is above Kid, which makes sense. But that's why I
Yes.
have him pretty high up. Also, because I put Shanks in such pedestal.
Okay, so
Ben Beckman, yeah.
let me ask you this then. If Ben Beckman is the dude who ripped off Kid's arm, right? How are
Yeah.
you having, and our idea is that Blackbeard's crew is competitive with competitive. It's
Well,
like
I said
opposite.
lesser. I said lesser.
It's a lesser, but you have Shiryu over here at 27, And you're
Yeah.
telling me your Ben Beckman, I'm gonna guess, is in the teens, if not low single digits. But I think that separation is too wild. That separation is wild. It's wild. Who is his head-to-head end game head-to-head? That's like how I like to see it, and then I group those people together. But
okay,
but I understand what you're saying though,
it's because right, he's grouped with the other right hand men, and I just Ben Beck, he just stands out. I don't like, he really does stand
and
out. He
mainly
has to be
on
above Kid based
okay
on like
the
feats
story.
alone
Yeah, okay.
and like the story, yada yada, not feats. I can always never put Shiryu too high because pre-time skip, he was like Magellan's 1-to-1. And Magellan doesn't
Oh
even make our
shit, yeah,
list
you're
these
right.
days. And
Oh
sure, like
yeah,
we talked about, yeah, he's leveled up more. He's had real combat experience,
he's
but he's
got the
still like,
invisibility fruit. Isn't that such a weird fruit for him to have?
it is a weird fruit. It's
I
kind of
thought
cool because it makes him like an assassin, sort of,
exactly. Yeah.
which is cool. But like, I couldn't put him above King or Katakuri just because I haven't seen enough, and because he is part of Blackbeard's crew, which I again said was the weakest emperor of like the old emperor. Endgame,
I
I think he's gonna boost up way high, and even like I don't know, in a year or so, if we see more of him, maybe he goes even higher. But like, yeah, Ben Beckman is just he's just that dude. So 19's fine. You still have him above the other people. I
okay,
get
good.
it. Get it. And one last thing, if you know, our like 28 through like 15, like the power between those that span of people is like the gap isn't that big, right?
It really
It's
isn't.
like
No.
once we get to the top 10 that right, you start seeing how like much stronger people are. So a lot of these are interchangeable. It's just based on like
Because I want to know who your 19 is, because I'm going to give you my 18 through 16 all at once, because I have to. There's a story behind why I did what I did.
all right, my 19 is Yamato.
Okay.
So again, it's pretty similar, our order ish. I mean, you have Kid and Law, but I have Yamato. Kid, not Law. Emphasize that. We already talked about Yamato. She's super
Yeah.
strong. She 1v1 Kaido. Do I think Sanji do that? Definitely not. I don't think Kaido held back much at all.
Against Yamato.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, especially at the end, there's like that one really just dastardly scary scene where he's all shaded out and he's like beating into her. I'm like, yeah, this guy is, are you sure
He's
you're
a-
her father? Like, what's going on here, man? You want to talk about it? It's kind of messed up. So, and
It's
she was
insane.
up there for a while too. So,
Yeah.
I mean, she got some good hits in too. Yeah, I think Yamato, she's very strong. I think that's part of the reason that she didn't come with the boys. We're already kind of busted, but if we had Yamato,
Exactly.
like,
It would
that's
have
some
been.
end game stuff.
It's so funny because One Piece is just one of those shows that just like almost as much fun as I did watching Endgame Wano, just watching the crew being the crew again back on the ship was so fun. And
Yeah,
like
those are the best moments.
it was so nice just seeing Zoro look at Sanji and be like, don't worry about fourth place. I was like, I love this fucking crew.
Oh, for sure. No, we
but-
love serious Wano, but yeah, it's the fun and it's that, pre-time skip had a lot of that we
Exactly.
do miss.
And I think because like the whole fourth place joke was Jinbei was in front of Sanji, if Yamato is there, you can't have someone separating Zoro and Luffy. We can't. You can't do that to the crew.
Yeah, I know. Zoro is second, right? He's second, man.
He's
he has
second.
to be the second strongest. We can't have Yamato
So just jump
muddying the
in.
waters.
Exactly. And I'm right there with you, believing that Sanji and Zoro, like you can get me to flip them any day of the week. And at the end of the day, I'm usually going to say it's going to be Zoro. But then you throw Yamato in there and it messes up the whole thing. It messes up the whole crew. Sure. Look, this is my 18 through 16. Okay. So.
Oh, brother.
Oh,
okay. What?
Yeah.
Okay, dude.
Okay.
Who do you have? It's like we have the same order, but there's just gaps missing. Dragon. No.
Dragon. Yes. Okay, look, listen. I'm gonna go backwards on this one, meaning I'm gonna go forward with the actual numbers. 16 with Dragon. I wanted to put Dragon on the honorable mentions because I'm sick and tired of the lore around him. I am sick and fucking tired.
This is out of spite, right?
No, yeah, maybe it is out of spite, but at the end of the day, like, what can we say? I'm only putting him ahead of Luffy because he's his fucking dad. Okay, he's the most wanted man on the planet. He needs to respect the story, whatever. The only feat we've seen from Dragon, like anything, the only thing we've seen is him hold fucking Smoker's little baton. Smoker, the dude who had fucking Doflamingo's balls on his chin until Aokiji had to come and save him. It's like, I want to respect Dragon. I truly, truly do. But they made Sabo the fifth emperor, right? We
Yeah,
haven't seen
I
this.
think you're kind of misunderstanding that. Like when he's not like an official emperor, right? Because he's not even a pirate.
Yeah,
He's a revolutionary. So like when Luffy was a fifth emperor, it was like kind of like a pseudo emperor. Like, but he's a pirate, so he is kind of an emperor. But now he's an official emperor, right? Sabo, I think is super strong. I have him high up too, but like he's not like an emperor. He's called an emperor, but not in the same way. Just to yeah.
yeah. So, and the only reason that Luffy's here is number 17. And I know that sounds insane. We have fucking 15 more people to go on my list, and Luffy's number 17 is because
Is insane.
when you see the rest of my list, it will make a little bit more sense. But the
I feel
only
like you don't even agree with your own list the way you're
no,
saying.
no, I'm telling you, I agree with this list. It's Dragon. Dragon is the person I don't agree with. Everyone has him like top 5. I can't for the life of me put him
Okay.
above like number 11. I hate the fact that he's surviving this entire time on lore alone, right? But we got to know him so far back. If you talk to me about like the actual crazy like gangster lore, you're talking about like Emu. You just see an eyeball and you're like, fuck, this dude's about that life. And the thing about Dragon is all of his crew, like Ivanka, his right-hand man, and she's what is she? Like, you know what I'm talking about? There's nothing that makes me believe that he's truly admiral or higher level. And we already had Fujitora on here. So
That is crazy.
it's I just have such a hard time with Dragon, and I can't put Luffy above Dragon. So that's why the family is right here. If Ace was still alive, he'd probably be above Sabo because Sabo wouldn't have the fire fruit.
I don't really know what to say to that. I mean, I think you're just it was kind of a spite pick, but like even that being said, you don't have to put him top 5, but like just based on his lore alone, he's the most wanted man in the Revolutionary Army, the only entity is actively going against the Marines that they have not been able to snuff out.
Yeah, the
Am
answer
I
is
also
snuff out.
frustrated
Yeah,
that they went to Mary Joa and he just sat on his ass back in
exactly.
Kamabaka?
Come
Yeah.
on.
I don't know who's above him.
But
Because
like,
not the fact you have Luffy at 17 means you also have some admirals above Luffy, which
yeah.
I find wild. The guy who took out Kaido, and you're saying Kaido destroys admirals.
When
So
when
we
we
have a
get to
little bit of a
when we get to Kaido, I'll explain the Kaido situation. Luffy didn't take out Kaido. Luffy had the finishing blow on Kaido. He didn't take out Kaido. There's a very big difference. But the key point that I need the world to understand and for you to hear me out clearly is they couldn't snuff out Dragon. That's what you said. It's not that they got into a fight and he mopped the floor with the Navy. No, it's just that they couldn't find him. This dude is like Caribou. He's hiding in fucking, cases. There's a very big difference than we can't find someone versus he's beating everyone we send his way. So,
I
like,
mean, that's an assumption. We don't know his history at all. We don't know who he's fought,
exactly my
anything with.
point. Exactly my point.
There's theories, by the way, that he used to be part of the Navy, sort of like how Garp wanted Luffy to be in the Navy, except he actually succeeded with Dragon, and then he said, "This is not for me," and then that's when we started the Revolutionary Army. I forget what, but there's some connection between Dragon and Akainu. I forget when it was referenced or where, but I know people talk. So I feel like
If
those two are probably comparable in strength for that alone. I wish I could give a reference. It's been so long I've heard the theories,
Maybe
but
if you could give me a legit reference, something that's real, not just like a bubble in some random fucking reference book. But if you could give me a real reference in the anime or manga, maybe I would consider it. But even with that, come on, I need more.
maybe when he references Luffy, he says dragons. And the fact that we know Garp wants his kids desperately to be
Oh
Marines, that
yeah,
he would have logically tried that with Dragon too. And that's why he says Dragon's kid. He doesn't say Luffy, doesn't say Straw Hat or whatever. He says Dragon's kid. He says that a bunch throughout Marineford. Like he knows Dragon personally. And the fact that Dragon could have potentially been in the Marines makes sense. They could have been rivals or something. I think that's a very big possibility. But at some point, right, just like Luffy, he didn't even get Luffy into the Marines, but Luffy wanted no part of the Marine life. He wanted to be a pirate. Same with Dragon. Just talking about this, I have to feel bad for Garp. He's like, it failed with Dragon. Let me try with Luffy. It failed even harder.
and it does make sense. But at the same time, Dragon's also the most wanted man on the planet, so of course he would talk about Luffy as the most wanted man on the planet's son, right? So I can see
Sure.
it that way
But
as
but
well.
also no one else did in the war. He just said
It was
Dragon's
just him.
son.
Yep, but it's
That and
not
more.
enough.
Okay. All right, let's see. My 18 is Law.
Okay.
Yeah. So not totally different, but I'm not a kid hater. I think his powers are cool. I think his awakening, but Law is just too lethal. His devil fruit is literally called the ultimate devil by Dofus. He said a lot of people refer to it as the devil fruit.
Yeah.
like in terms of like damage done to Big Mom, I feel like Law not feel like he did do way more than Kid
100%.
did. Like a lot of moves that Kid did on Kaido and Big Mom just did nothing
Nothing. It's like
realistically, and
brute
that's
force. They
fine.
just pushing him back.
Kid's hockey feats, it's absolutely ridiculous that at the start of the arc we hear that Kid has conquerors hockey, and then we just see absolutely
Exactly. I
and
had
like
so many questions about
yeah,
I
like
had so many questions. Yeah,
he
it's so
doesn't he
weird.
doesn't I mean maybe he's not aware of it, but then how did Kaido know? There had to have been
No.
some sort of alternate where like I don't know. It could be like unconscious, sort of like when Luffy discovered it, Marineford War, and with Boa Hancock and all that. He hasn't mastered it, hasn't, but
Oh yeah.
still, why? I don't know. This was his
Exactly.
time to shine, right? This was his arc. This is where we've seen the most of Kid by far, and he shows literally zero hockey, no observation feats, no armament hockey, no conquers, which he was. It's not a good look. And then if we're just comparing Devil Fruits, I mean, Law just takes the cake. He did way more to Big Mom. If we were talking about a battle where we're not conveniently on an island that you can push your opponent off of, and we're talking battle like on the ground, 1v1, I feel like the Law is doing way more damage to Big Mom than Kid is.
I was going to ask you about why Yamato in between, and you're saying it's basically Law's devil fruit.
I think I'm just kind of a kid
Okay. You start off the explanation. I'm not a kid hater. But
I'm a come clean man. I'm a little bit I'm okay. It's not that I'm a hater. It's that I want to see more from him because he talks a
disappointed. No,
big game, like you said.
yeah.
He's very ambitious. But at the end of the day, he kind of did squat. Like his secondhand man killer kind of did more to Kaido than
Don't say
he hurt
don't,
him. Kaido screamed.
don't
Kid just throwing him around. He doesn't
yeah.
have hockey. His he just has metal, and metal isn't doing anything to Kaido.
He's not gonna
Gear
do
4
nothing.
Luffy pre Rio was doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like Kid just running into him is doing nothing. So I could have put Kid lower, honestly. Could have put him below Zoro,
The more
but
you
I
talk,
didn't go that far. So
the more you talk about it, the worse it does look for Kid, because that was the biggest question. And I don't want to ever like question Oda, because it is Goda. He is the fucking god since, what is it, the Bubble Island where they got separated, where he put
Sabaody,
Sabaody. Since Sabaody, Kid was Luffy's, arch
and
enemy. Like
it shifted though after the
yeah,
time skip.
it did shift,
I don't
but
know why it did. I thought everyone thought Kid was going to be like right there, one, Luffy's rival even potentially. But that
exactly.
just has kind of fallen off since Wano.
Truly, it really has. And I didn't even think it shifted until the end of Wano, because even prior to us getting to Wano, I still believe that Kid was that dude, because Law was buddy buddy with Luffy, right? And Kid would never be buddy buddy with Luffy, so I always thought that he was going to be the rival. And I think the best way to describe it is it's just disappointing to see Law's Devil Fruit do the things it does. Kid's situation it's disappointing. It just is.
All right, my 17 is okay. I feel like this person is probably not even on your list. It is Scopper Gabon. I know who that is?
I don't know who this is. What is it?
He was in Roger's crew.
Oh
Roger.
shit! With the two axes in his hands.
Yeah, Roger, right? He disbanded the pirates. It's
Wait,
not like
wait! Time out! Before you even explain,
yeah.
I thought we were only doing people who are alive. Isn't he
Hey,
dead?
no, he's not dead. That's where I was
Oh,
getting
okay.
to.
Okay,
Him
okay.
and
Sorry.
the other Roger pirates, like I don't know if you remember that big fishman guy, and
Yeah.
but Scopper definitely stood out as like third right behind Ray, for sure. Like he was named. We heard him pretty early on, and we finally see him in action in the backstory. And who is he paired up against when Whitebeard and Roger are fighting? He's paired up against Odin.
Odin, yes.
Yeah, and
Fucking
if we had people
dude.
who are alive or dead on our list, Odin would be pretty high up on there. I'd say
100%.
still above Zoro for me personally.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah,
definitely.
for that reason, Scopper, which I believe he's alive and out there, and they talk about, I forget when exactly, but like the Whitebeard remnants are they're out there retired, like Rayleigh was. He was just chilling, going to the bar. So Scopper's probably out there too, doing his own thing.
Have we ever seen a current day, even pre-time skip, a current day Scopper? No, okay.
Just only in the backstory and only by name.
Okay.
My 16 is Green Bull.
Oh, thank God. I'm happy. No, I'm actually happy that he's on your list this high. I'm really happy because
I think you can make a case for, if he's higher or lower than some other admirals, because he got bitched so hard on his introduction. I just can't in good faith put him higher than because I think his power is nasty, but I think Fujitori's powers, and just at the mere Wi-Fi hockey of Shanks, right? He hit him with that walkie-talkie.
Wait. What'd you say? What'd you say?
He hit him with that Wi-Fi hockey. He called him up on the phone and he hit him with the hockey. The walkie-talkie hockey. I've heard all kinds of
Wait,
sayings.
that's amazing. That's
Yeah, I mean-
amazing. I love that because that's when you say it, it feels right because I've never seen hockey like that in my life. But when you say it, it feels so right. That's exactly. It was just like teleporting his hockey to yes. I'm sorry,
Yeah, I
but
mean
it's-
that alone that is left on hockey alone. It's like
but
I don't like
you
that.
you do also have to give him. And I know I keep saying it was at the end of the war, everyone was super hurt, but he fucking wiped the floor with Queen and King at the same time. Number one, and then he was taking all the scabbard, right? Obviously the ones who were still around, not the. I always forget the dude with the
Yeah,
pink
I
hair.
think any admiral could do that though.
Oh, okay, and you saying
And
you can't
also-
have him hire? Oh, okay. You
Yeah,
think
and also,
Fujitora would be able to do that?
Yeah, for sure. And also,
Queen and King.
let me add a little caveat that the scene of them fighting is anime only. When you see them in the manga, they're already defeated, so we don't exactly know how it went down.
Oh, okay. Yo,
Like he maybe
Toei's
was a little
fucking
surprise attack or
spicy.
something.
Yeah, okay.
But like either way, like Queen, like he transformed, he fires one shot, and he can't even stay in his form, and they're not able to use hockey. I know Queen was moving, moving and shaking. But again, that was an anime only scene. I love that scene because like how is Queen's big ass moving that fast?
Yo, Queen is
I absolutely love it. But
yeah.
who knows? It may have been a longer battle, or it may have been he just snuck up on them and did them dirty. So it's hard without context.
Do you have your admirals close to each other?
Yeah.
Okay, because I have, and I like giving you the story behind the people I pick. So I want to give you my quick lineup right here. So I do have
Top half, baby.
oh yeah, top half.
Made it.
Yes, top half. Kizaru, I have
Yep.
Green Bull,
Wow.
and then I have Aokiji. The only reason I have Green Bull above Kizaru has been an admiral for longer, so he this is his fortress, his place. And we've only seen like the tip of the iceberg with Kizaru's, and it's the fucking light flute. So like his power can be like endlessly better than Green Bull's, but it seems as though Kizaru just moves with the light. I don't know how much he can expand that devil fruit. And
the
it
dude's
could,
light speed.
yeah, I mean, it could be
Shoots
like
lasers.
yeah,
pretty,
it could be the most epic thing ever. But when I see Green Bull doing that sucking thing, that the way that Big Mom does her life source thing, when you have a power that gives you back health that quickly, I always feel like that puts your durability at an epic level. That's like it's hard for me to
when he sucks. Yeah, I'm not sure like what he's getting from that.
in the anime. I remember specifically him saying like water is the life force of life. So it sounds like he's sucking the water out of people.
Okay.
Is
that like helium though?
I don't know, but if he's a tree
Or is it mainly just
fruit,
hurting them?
Yeah, it's hurting them. But
I know
if
it's
he's
hurting
a
them,
tree-
but is it healing it?
I think so. And this is just me going off of what I saw from his devil fruit, because I honestly think it could be so epic. And with all of these pirates being devil fruit users, 90% of all of these great top list folks are devil fruit users. It's always going to be on land. And when on land, it's impossible to compete with someone who's sucking the juice out of everything around him. And
Okay.
also, like Kizaru, I have Ben Beckman super down here at 19, and then Kizaru's at 15. And like, everyone talks about that scene where he's like, oh, Ben Beckman, how dare you? I mean, like, I won't make a move because you're pointing your gun at me. So I can't disrespect Ben Beckman that much as well.
Yeah.
And then Aokiji, the only reason is because Aokiji stood up against Akainu, and Akainu's still up to coming up next. So, I can't have him lower than anybody else because Aokiji is the only other person who's like, I'm gonna fight for this. What's the top admiral spot's name?
Fleet Admiral.
Fleet Admiral Spot. He's the only one who said, no, I want this, and they destroyed an entire island. So respect where respect.
Okay. I think there's a few assumptions with the Green Bull thing that reason he's above Kizaru. Like you said, if he's on land, he can suck everything, but we only saw him suck like other people, as wrong as that sounds. he only uses his sucking powers to get water from other people.
Yeah.
And then there's also the assumption if that heals him or not. I think because like he's a tree, like maybe it'd make him regenerate faster or something. But in terms of like his body, like is water healing him? I don't know.
That would be a little bit of a stretch now that you mention it. Yeah.
He's also like we haven't seen him use the land as like a source of energy or
Of
anything.
energy. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's true. Because
Yeah,
now that you think about it, because I think of how useless Pika was. And I thought that when we were in Dressrosa, I was like, oh shit, Pika's the dude. But it kind of was useless. So like some Logia, some devil fruits that look overpowered to hacks, depending on who you're fighting, just can be kind of
I think it's
not.
pretty matchup based for Green Bull. Like he's still an admiral. You know,
You
you
know
can make an
what?
argument
You
if we
know
see him
what?
higher, but
I don't like doing this, but you're right. Kizaru deserves the respect. He's been in, yeah,
also
yeah.
Kizaru has done a lot, and he does not give a shit. He's just chilling. He's probably smoking weed. Honestly, he's just vibing. Kizaru. He's always bugging, man, and he just gets the job done no matter what.
And I
He,
love
he
his
like
name, Borsalino. He's
yeah,
just that dude.
Borsalino.
Yeah, he's a bomb.
All right, my 15. I feel like you probably also don't have on your list is Kong.
I don't know who this is. No.
He's the
Who?
old fleet admiral. We saw him a single time
Oh,
in
I
the
know
entire.
exactly who this is. I don't even have to look him up. He's the dude with the pointy, the
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
yeah. No, I love that dude.
He's absolutely massive, by the way. Dude is ripped. And he was, I'm pretty sure it's confirmed. He was the old fleet admiral. Now he just does like office work because he's old as shit. But like if you know we've ever watched any shonen, the old guy is always OP. But I think Kong would definitely be in my team no matter what. Even though we've seen absolutely nothing from him just based on his title alone. He
Yeah,
has to
I
be
mean,
strong at one point in his life.
and I think that's fair.
That's my reasoning for Kong. All right. 14 is there's our guy, Ben Beckman.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean he's quite a bit ahead of the other first mates.
first mates. Yeah, I was about to
But
say.
I feel like Ben Beckman, like I said already, he's that guy. He probably was the one who took Kid's arm. He'd be above Kid. And like again, there's not that much of a gap where Kid and Ben Beckman. Shanks is that dude, and Ben Beckman is also that dude. 13 is Fujitora.
This is weird. Oh, so you really are disrespecting Green Bull.
Yeah.
He's not even in the class with the rest of the
I don't like his attitude, man. You rank some guys based on, you know, if they're willing to fight or if they're feisty or not, and that's kind of what I did for Green. I
Okay.
mean, is it super logical? I don't know. Like all four of like the Admiral, new and old, or all five, I should say,
Yeah,
are probably like just neck and neck all together. But
probably.
just at the end of Wano, man, I had to put him a little lower than the rest of the Admiral, and that's why Fujitora is a few spots ahead.
Before we move on from Fujitora, because we're not going to talk about him much moving forward, how OP do you think his devil fruit is? Like, do you think we saw him really go after it when he was going against Dofi and Law? Or do you think
Oh
he
no, I
was
mean he even said to like I'm not like I don't want to kill you. I'm trying to like he tried to put him in handcuffs like the whole time. Like he's so reasonable, right? Like that I know
Yeah.
that's the reason you have him lower. But like if he were to go out, if they're like, battling for their life or what they most believe in, yeah, I think Fujitora definitely to be up here. And he, like we said, his observation is nuts. His devil fruit, like did he go all out? I mean, he shot a meteor down, but it's
Yeah.
funny because there like was a comedic scene. He's like, I feel like Law is like, are you sure you're like going easy on us? Because meteor at us, like relax. But
What's your definition of easy? Yeah, Fujitora, you have to prove to me that there is a level that you can get to where destruction is like you seeing red. And this dude can't see. So I don't know, so like I don't know.
I think that's fair. I think maybe our philosophy for the lists are a little different than like
Yeah. So this one you might think I'm nuts for, but but
oh boy.
but this is my
There'll
guy.
be some disrespect to someone I like. Oh my god.
so I've got Mihawk at number 12.
All sorts used for this top 10.
I literally couldn't put him any higher because of the rest of my top 10. So I'm not even going to give that much of an explanation. He deserves to be.
Your Shanks better be 10 or 9, that which would be a tragedy.
When we get up higher, I'll explain a little bit more. Just know that there's a reason based on the list that I can't have him any higher.
Looking at this list, I just realized I forgot.
Who?
I forgot Sengoku.
Oh, well.
So
okay.
I think when we get to someone that I think he's comparable to, I'll just say
You'll
like
just slash
them plus
Sengoku.
Sengoku. My 12 is Rayleigh.
Talk to me. Why really?
And then
I
my
mean,
11
I did see the episode with him and Blackbeard, so I know that he's a bitch now. So
you saw the one after. Oh, so you did see the whole thing.
I saw the whole thing when he saved Boa Hancock.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, so you said Rayleigh's a bitch because of that.
yeah.
Wait, how is he a bitch?
He said,
What?
"I can't beat Blackbeard. I ain't got it.
Oh.
I'm not the same man." He says,
Yeah, I mean, he's old, but he's still like Blackbeard backed off.
"Okay, well,
He's got the,
what's your definition of backed off?"
he's got he literally left. What do you mean?
I feel like that's
He very literally left and said, I don't want to do this.
That's fair.
That's
Yeah.
an emperor. That's Mr. Blackbeard you put so high up.
Yeah. So now I have to show you the reason my list is so funky. So I have an old era list. I have them before. These 4 people I can't have on my list
Dude, that is why.
because you can't.
We've seen plenty in the story to give us an idea of where they are today.
Exactly. Where?
And let me say my 11
Yeah.
is someone that really fought
Talk to me.
in Saboti, which was Kizaru.
Oh. See that your list does kind of make sense. Like, yeah. No, like I feel like if Kizaru was really going after Rayleigh, Rayleigh wouldn't. He wouldn't make it. And Kizaru doesn't want to kill Rayleigh. He's a legend, you know. Kizaru doesn't.
I mean, Kizaru's just bugging, man. Like he's a troll, but like he was saying to Rayleigh, like, "Oh, you're giving me a hard time here, blah blah blah." And I don't know, they seem like pretty equal.
The reason I didn't have Sengoku Shiki, which is I don't know if we should even count.
Shiki's like barely canon to begin with, and like
Exactly.
yeah,
Sengoku, Garp, and Rayleigh. It's because we're getting shoved, just like Big News Morgan, shoving down our throats every like chance he can. It's a new era. It's a new era. It's a new emperor. It's a new era. It's a new emperor. It's new.
okay, but
new,
does that mean that they're just not in your top 30, or they're just old, so you just for some odd reason decide not to put them in? Like,
It's not for some odd
you
reason.
actually think they're weaker than
It's-
every person on this?
It's not that I think that they're weaker than every person on this list. I think that. Oh no, yes, I do. Currently, they are. Currently, they
You
are
think
weaker than.
Rayleigh, who saved Boa, is stronger than Rayleigh?
I would put Anel over Rayleigh right now. I'm looking at my list right now.
Oh no, that's my list. Sorry. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm looking at my list right now. And I would put, see, the thing is like Kid and Law, maybe, you know, depends. If they get to team up with Rayleigh, I think they have a chance. But like, listen,
This is the right hand man of the pirate king, old or
yeah,
not,
yeah, but like, it's
and he fought an admiral. Like,
time
got
is
the admirals.
time is undefeated. Father Time is undefeated. Okay, it's the new era. Stop telling me it's the new era.
I know it's the
And
new
then-
error, but he still did what he did, right? He tussled with an admiral. If we see him do two things pretty much: fight an admiral and scare off an emperor, and somehow he doesn't make top 30. Two like insane feats that I don't think the bottom half of your list could do like any of those things.
There's no way. No, you're probably right, but I just
And
I don't have them
the
on my
fact you
list.
don't have the old guys on your list and you still have 11 more people, I'm just like, who are these people?
Akainu.
Fleet Admiral of the Navy, number 11.
Is that it? Yeah, that's him. That's it. That's number 11.
Okay. At least he's the top of your
He's
your
yeah.
admirals.
Yeah, he's just at the top of the admirals, and the only reason I didn't want to put him above, I didn't want to put Mihawk above Akainu, is because Mihawk is part of the Cross Guild. The two other people in the Cross Guild are kind of not punk. Well, Buggy's a true punk. Crocodile, we don't know anything about him, and we do know prior to this he was a warlord, so much lower on that thing. Mihawk was part of the warlords, so I am 100% sure that Akainu understands and knows the strength that Mihawk is. And
But is that fair? Because there's context to all of it. Like you're looking at titles that don't really matter. The only like in terms of his strength, like Warlord ranges from the strongest swordsman Mihawk to like Buggy, right? Warlord is not a consistent title in terms of strength, power, notoriety, anything.
I
It's just
only
right?
I only mentioned the fact that he was a warlord to just let you know that Akainu is aware of Mihawk's strength and
Yeah, the whole world is because he's the strongest in the world, baby.
so yeah. And if you do understand that, right? When they said his bounty was 3.5, I was like, holy shit, the Marines do really respect this man, right? But that's as high as I can put him because I'm not going to put him over the Fleet Admiral. I can't put Mihawk above the Fleet Admiral. It's impossible. It's impossible for me. Akainu has to be the person that's guarding the top 10. That you once you get into
It's funny logic. I kind of like it. He's guarding the top 10.
He's guarding the
Mihawk,
top
you're
10.
not allowed in.
And he isn't. I'm sorry, he just isn't.
Yeah, I feel like just Mihawk at 12 is just so wild. I don't know. I have to like absorb it for a second. It's
This is when I can finally tell you and why my list is so wild. Because all of these people would be five things above, but from 6 to 10, I just have the 5 Gorosei, and I don't even know their names. So that's why I have the 5 elders from 6.
I had a feeling
to 10.
that's who you would have because there's no characters left in the show. I thought you
Exactly.
just grouped them as one or not even have one.
Honest to God, I would have everyone 5 steps up, but with the Gorosei being the Gorosei and them only starting to have real screen time when we are getting Gear 5th Luffy, they have to be the top dogs, right? They just have to be. So I'm just gonna say the 5 elders here. And it's all the way down to the 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Like, do you know their names? Because I only know
There's no names.
Yeah, they don't like I know none of their names. If I had to just pick on looks alone.
Yeah, I know a lot of people.
So, yeah,
they always rate the guy with the sword.
the old man with the sword.
Yeah, the one you have first.
Exactly.
I'm assuming that's your 6.
Yeah, this is like I almost have it like just by age.
Well, the guy with the blonde hair looks the youngest.
Yeah, no. So he's
You think he's the weakest though?
He's the weakest of the 5 elders. Yes,
Okay, even
he's
though
number
the
10.
youngest.
Yeah, even though he's the youngest. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I have this guy as my number 6. This really old guy. I thought he had the sword.
Yeah, he does have the sword. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
But that's the reason my list looks so funky is because I have all of these guys here.
Going off that logic, if you go back to your list, you go down to your honorable mention. The logic for that was, well, you haven't seen enough of them yet. We don't know what they can do.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not fair to rate them, which is why they're not on my list at all, because we haven't seen anything from them. Every time we see their old asses, they're sitting in the same chairs, in the same position, posing for the camera, yapping. They're not doing anything.
It's real. I thank you for using my logic against me because
yes, I'd love to put them in. Can't wait to see an action.
Exactly. So this is the category that I was so tempted in putting them in. But the only reason, because I did tell you, there's a few of these people like Dragon that I was torturously putting at number 16 on lore alone. And my whole thing is we only started to get some real attention on these boys when Luffy was turning into his endgame. And we don't know if it's going to be endgame situation, but when Luffy transforms into a god and then we start to talk to these boys, come on.
I think that's the natural progression, but you say we're getting more of them, but we're getting more yapping. They still haven't moved their butts. Like they haven't done anything. A lot of people don't even know if they can fight, if they're even combats, or if they're just in charge of the world government. I think they can probably fight because it would be underwhelming, but like even if they could fight, they're super old, they haven't moved. And the reason like the world government has the Navy is to protect them. The Navy is in place to carry out all of their deeds while they just sit in their ass for 1,000 chapters. So that's my.
And that's fair. And if they at all looked like any of the Celestials or dressed like any of the Celestials,
yeah, that's why I think they can probably fight.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the only thing I would say. If the Navy is doing all of the fighting to protect them, I see them as the protection to Emu. And if you're gonna rank Emu high enough, these boys have to be right fucking there. I see it as like if this is like the ultimate crew, right? The Navy being its ultimate crew and Emu being the captain. These are his fucking commanders, right? Of the sea, right?
Yeah, I don't view it that way just because they're not Navy.
Because they're not they're not.
Maybe Emu just doesn't even do anything either. Emu is top of the world. I mean, he probably does, but he's just top of the world. He's there because of, I don't know why, but like his blood, or however he came to power, however many years ago. If Emu was immortal or not, we don't know. But like he's there because of status, not because of power. Like the fleet admiral's there because he's a good leader, but he's also there because he's strong.
Powerful.
And for Emu and the Gorosei, I can confidently say that they're there because strong. They're there.
Can I ask you? You don't have to tell me where, but do you have Emu on your list?
I don't even have Emu on my
You're
list.
Insane, bro. Insane.
It's not because I don't know anything about Emu. It's not. I could not put him or her, we haven't even heard them talk, into my top 30 because they walked up some stairs and they sat down.
We really do see it differently. Yeah, because the folks I'm willing to put this high on lore alone, you're not even willing to put on your list. I kind of respect that.
Yeah, I mean, do I think Emu is top 30 strongest? They better be, like, story-wise, but like it also could be very Oda-esque to have the final villain be some Wapol looking ass character that does absolutely nothing.
I really hope that.
Because the final, like, how many final bad guys can there be? There's like Luffy's gonna like see Shanks, he's gonna fight Blackbeard, he's gonna fight Akainu for Ace. Like, is there gonna be Emu 2 on top of all of that? Or I don't know, I
really get Kaguya vibes from Emu.
Yeah.
I get a lot of Kaguya vibes, sure. which makes me a little nervous. But at the same time, because I want like Blackbeard is our Madara, right? So I want Blackbeard to be the fucking, but
Yeah.
it's Emu. I mean, like the lore is there. Emu staring at that big ass fucking hat. So, and so that's why if you see my crazy ass list, if you were to bump all of these people
Oh, yeah,
five
that's what I was
up,
saying.
would
Yeah,
it
it makes
it
sense.
would make more sense then, right?
Yeah.
If all of these people were
We
five.
have a lot of similarities. Mine are just like a little different because you have these guys that I'm gonna have on my list in your
Gotcha.
top 10.
All right, talk to me about 10.
All right, my 10 is Aoki.
Okay.
I think our admirals are pretty similar. Actually,
Mhm.
they are similar. Story-wise, it makes sense. He fought Akanu for 10 days. It probably could have gone either way, but for the story, it was Akanu.
No,
It's not
it
like
couldn't have gone either way. People always say that, but it couldn't. Okay, Akainu has a scar. Like Aokiji lost a leg. Punk has it is split half and half, and that's just devil fruits being devil fruit. Okay, so don't tell me it could have gone either way. If Akainu lost an arm and Aokiji lost a leg, I'd put it even closer, but still more on Akainu's side. But you don't leave a fight with a scar, the other person loses a limb, and you say it was.
I mean, it's
close.
a big ass scar. Also, like let's like he's ice and he's lava, isn't he? Just at a disadvantage to begin with.
That's a good point. That's a really good
Like
point.
he it's not like he
Yeah.
cut off his leg in a day. Like they fought for 10 days, so they're going at it for 10 days.
Yeah.
And then like maybe he's so exhausted at the end he cut off his leg. My 9 is Sabo.
Oh shit! You have him above the admirals, bro?
Yeah.
Please explain. Come on, bro.
I think him and Fujitora weren't going all out, but they were portrayed as equals in Dressrosa. And he absolutely dumpstered Burgess, who's third in command. He's kind of like a queen equivalent in my mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Like one Fire Fist, the dude was out. His face got rolled, like all messed up. He barely like made it alive. Hitch a ride on that ship. And he was dying on Baltigo. So like even an admiral, I think that would be tough for them to do that to a third in command.
Yeah.
And since Dressrosa, like all the boys are leveling up, and I think Sabo is like the same path. Like he's done a lot since then. Sabo and his hooligans, his commanders,
Yeah, the crew.
which people like, right? They're not in our top 30, so
No.
like
Which
they
is
still
crazy.
fended off 2 admirals and saved Kuma,
Kuma?
and they got their objective complete.
That puts
Sabo
him-
he's right above the admirals because I feel like he's grown since then.
I think
powered
he's
up a little
close.
bit.
Yeah, I think he's definitely close to admiral level. That's a little
Second in command of the. I know you disrespected Dragon, but he's second in command of Revolutionary Army.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
like in that episode where they called him the Flame Emperor, they said his notoriety has even surpassed Dragon. He's such he's a man of the people.
I can understand what you're saying. I just feel like the admirals still need to be respected. They really do still need to be respected because
I mean, I don't have a Kainu yet.
Oh, okay. Fair.
My 8 is Blackbeard.
Oh shit. Okay. Oh shit.
Yeah.
So you're thinking he's the weakest? No. Yeah, so he's the weakest of the like actual emperor.
Yeah, if we're talking about the old emperors before,
Yeah,
the buggy shenanigans, he's the weakest.
He's the weakest.
He
You think
has-
he's already weaker than Luffy? You think if Luffy were to fight him right now, he'd lose?
Yeah. But see, they're
Get the
like
fuck out
Blackbeard
of
can
here.
grow.
Are you serious? Like, do you like seriously? Like,
Yeah.
if there's anyone that is going to be endgame, it's going to be Blackbeard or somebody else, right? Like, I mean, that's going to be the endgame fight. But you think right now Luffy's stronger?
I just looked at my list and I don't have Luffy on.
Oh my god, you forgot someone. You
How did I
forgot
forget
someone.
Luffy? Oh no. Okay, wait. Let me think real quick.
Okay, yeah, take a few minutes. Because I need
No, wait,
you.
I have my list actually. Okay. I know where Luffy is and he's still above Blackbeard.
Okay,
I just-
like
I forgot to
honestly
put him
though,
on.
like honestly.
Yeah.
So
I
then,
think
like,
Blackbeard is like he's kind of like Lawn Kid in the way he has insane devil, like to the degree, right? He has like 2 of the most insane devils.
but Kid doesn't have an insane devil.
But, like,
what do you
he's-
mean?
I mean, like, sorry, they focus on their devil fruits. Like that's their
Oh,
whole
okay.
their whole
okay,
kit
okay.
is
Yeah,
their devil fruits.
yeah.
Like I haven't seen, like I don't know what his hockey's like. Like he's a big dude, right? He's not the fastest. He's not the most swift. His agility is probably not up there. Because he has the darkness fruit, he takes more damage, which is a big thing. Like when Ace punched him, dude was like, on the ground, like
Exactly.
crying. Just like the nature of him, like I talked about earlier, a lot of the things he's done have been really like conniving, and like he's a great planner. He can be sneaky and go in at the right opportunity. But like if we're talking about just pure strength, one-on-one, no like sneaky tactics, you're on evil playing ground. I can't in good faith put him above at least the other emperors.
This is gonna be wild for me to say, but Luffy is in that crew of he's basically his devil fruit.
Luffy's hockey.
Okay.
Hello?
Okay. Yes, his Conqueror's advanced like now hockey, but can a Luffy punch without a devil fruit and the hockey?
Wait,
Can
that's
a
you're
hockey?
just saying
Can
who
a
is that then? That's not Luffy.
I'm just, but my point is, like a regular Luffy, not Gear Second, whatever, just a regular Luffy, right? Can he punch through Blackbeard's Darkness Fruit and then like end Blackbeard while Blackbeard also has the Yami Yami? You know what I mean? Like,
Base
so,
Luffy
so
was base Luffy
because
was fighting Kaido. Like Luffy
oh
no forms
shit,
is
no,
fighting
oh yeah,
Kaido
you're
with
right.
his
Oh yeah, you're
in.
right. No, you're
You have
right.
to. We don't even know
Oh
if
my god,
Blackbeard
you're right.
has. We don't even know if Blackbeard has
Armament.
conquerors. No, he has armor. We don't know if he has conquerors.
Oh yeah, he does have armament. That was dope to see. Blackbeard definitely has conquerors.
I think he has it, but it's not confirmed, so I
It's
can't
not
say.
confirmed. Yeah.
And he
Okay.
like if he has conquerors, I don't know if he has conquerors coding, which is like a whole nother level.
That
Like
yeah.
when Kaido, he said, "Are you sure you can hit me?" Blah blah blah. Only a few people that I know like can do this. Are you one of them too? And he was one of them. And like there's only like we only have a few named people in the series that can do conquerors coding. You're not touching with your conquerors, just way above armor. So like on paper, I feel like Luffy should kind of dumpster Blackbeard, but like thematically that makes no sense.
No,
And
don't say
he
dumpster.
has
On paper, he's better, but don't say dumpster. Come on.
if we
Just
remember the end of
respect the man.
if
Come
we remember
on.
the end of Marineford War, 2 holes in his chest, old, sick, dying Whitebeard comes into Blackbeard. Blackbeard comes in, sneaks up on him with his whole crew. Whitebeard's he's still choking him out, and he's oh
Yeah.
no, don't hurt me, Whitebeard. Oh dad, or whatever he did. Oh pops, don't hurt me anymore.
Yeah.
Like he's still pulling out the bitch cards. Like that's not gonna work against Luffy.
But that's also the same Whitebeard that fucked up Akainu. Whitebeard's just on a different level. Listen, I hear you. I respect it. With your explanation, I understand. I can see you putting Luffy above.
I need a
but don't say that
Blackbeard fight.
Luffy can dumpster Blackbeard. You
Okay,
can't.
that's not fair. I know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying on paper, like
Okay.
it wouldn't actually play out like that because Blackbeard is conniving. Even if he's not like sucker punching you or something, he's still smart. He's a smart fighter, and he could with 2 insane devil fruits. Like even if he doesn't have conquerors or not. Like we've seen Big Mom had conquerors. She had conqueror coding. She still lost. Like Blackbeard, he has like 2 unbelievable devil fruits, and he's shown mastery over them as well. So there's a lot of tricky stuff you could do with that. My 7, Akainu.
Okay. So you think that right now also Akainu could take Blackbeard?
Yeah, I mean they're touching,
Very
so they're
close. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I feel like Blackbeard should be above Akainu because, like, in my eyes, the emperors like are the kings, but the emperors like of the
But
free
here we
world.
have the weakest emperor and the strongest admiral. So like
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. No, good. Yes.
and yeah, Akainu, he's not touching, right? He's not touching the other admirals. I think a step up position, what he represents to the story, where he's going to be endgame if he fights Luffy, or I think it'd be cool if he fought Sabo, honestly.
I love the fact that that's happening. I was about to mention that because I was like, Oda's playing too many games here. We're gonna see Akainu punch a hole through Sabo. It's gonna be some savage
Sabo's
shit.
got to punch a hole through Akainu, man.
Probably. I hope
And you got
so.
fire versus lava, like it's cool. Like
Yeah,
And-
I want to see that fight play out.
yeah, to the story, like because Luffy has too many like
Endgame
endgame opponents.
battles.
Like we are talking about Emu, Blackbeard, Akainu. Like I think it would make sense if the other brother, especially because he couldn't show up to the war of Amnesia,
Yeah.
and he regrets it.
The
So he
more
could,
you
like,
say
you know,
it, the
yeah.
more you say it, the more it makes sense.
Yeah, he could
Because a
finally.
Sabo Akainu endgame fight would be dope.
That's why I have Akainu there. But my next number 6.
Say his name.
This is where Luffy goes.
Okay.
Luffy is my number 6.
Luffy's at number 6. I'm not gonna argue with anyone that has Luffy. I think anywhere in the top 10. Do you think that Luffy at the end of Kaido's fight was because he was so burnt out from using Gear 5th? Because Luffy was dead, right? He was his death's door prior to turning into Gear 5th, right?
Yeah.
So, and both him and Zoro were asleep for like a week or 2 weeks, however long they were asleep
Yeah,
for. And so was Zoro close to death's door when he fought King. So my question is, do you think it wasn't any extra stamina? Because we remember when he turned into Gear 3rd, he turned into that small version of himself. When he turned into Gear 4th, he would like flop away and he couldn't use any hockey for X amount of time.
Yeah.
How out of control do you think he is with Gear 5th? It seemed as though he had a better grip of Gear 5th than he did of Gear 4th when he used Gear 4th for the first time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's kind of funny where we've gotten in the story because I remember the first time he was Gear second, it was just absolutely draining. And
Exactly.
then the crew saw him for the first time use it on Thriller Bark. And they're like, if he keeps using this, he's going to reduce his lifespan. Like he's killing himself with Gear second. And now look at us, we're Gear 5.
It's
And
just
like
jolly.
what is he doing to
It's-
himself now if like Gear second was doing that too?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's definitely a stamina thing. If you remember in the middle of that fight where he goes like all old Luffy, that's like his kind of Gear 4, like can't move, can't use Hoggy for 10 minutes equivalent.
Yeah.
Like he became like he looked really goofy, like the weight all dissipated, like it was almost paint. And he turned
Exactly.
back into his normal colors. But then he's like, oh no, I can't stop now. I have to, finish this fight. But that was a stamina thing. I mean, he's still getting hit a ton. It's weird because it's hard to tell how much damage he's actually taking. He's
Exactly.
such a
That's my
goofball.
thing. Yeah.
He's taking damage, but it's like it's hard to gauge. And I think it's probably stamina and like how much damage. It's the reason he goes out of Gear 5. That's like the reason he fell down and he was out of gas peak. It was just, yeah, it was a culmination of both for sure. And like pre Wano Luffy is like, oh my god, he's so much further down the list. Couldn't even hurt Kaido. It's just insane how much Luffy has spiked, and
In that
that's
like
the reason he's
yeah.
top 10. That's the reason he's number 6. But like the way he can improve now, because he has all the like possibilities at his fingertips, just his creativity and his stamina.
The greatest thing about Luffy is it's like, yeah, it's just a matter of the frequency at which he uses Gear 5th, and that will just take care of the stamina for him. Was there ever a time in Wano where he was tired out from using Gear 4th, or was it basically
He got a lot
down
better
pat?
mastery.
Exactly. I don't.
They showed him like for the first time ever. I think it's when he got the little sucker punch on Kaido when he flew in on Momo, and him and Yamato did that really cool attack. And like he went into Gear 4 Snake Man just for a second.
Exactly.
That was the first time he did that. So it showed that he has better mastery. Like Gear
Much
4
better.
now becomes like the Gear 2. Like he can just pop in and out of it kind of free will without the repercussion. Probably because he's using for a lesser time, but also because he's capable of using it for a lesser time. I'd be open to putting Luffy below Kainu and Blackbeard if you wanted, but just because Blackbeard is such a, I don't know, man.
You don't want to. Yeah, no.
I
And like the spike after Wano. Like if the spike after Wano happened and then we met Blackbeard and he was like, "Oh shit, I got my third devil fruit," then I could understand you.
We haven't
But
seen
like,
Black go all out. Yeah, it's hard to say. And like I think because of the spike that Luffy's plateaued for a while. Like
He
he's
has
gonna
to
get
be.
better mastery on Gear 5. And like endgame Luffy, probably like I don't know how different it'll be from current Luffy. That's why I think he just jumped so much and the others will catch up.
Exactly. Because he's literally a god now. So it's like you can't get much higher than a god who has a devil fruit that it's his imagination that determines what happens. I'm really happy you said that you can imagine Blackbeard being above Luffy because that's exactly, if our lists were together, that's exactly, I have Blackbeard as number 5. After you explaining to me that Luffy was fighting Kaido in his base form, it clicked in my head that holy shit, Luffy truly is at a
Do you
different
want to
fucking
move
level.
his spot after talking?
I would. I
Do you
definitely
think he's really below admirals with everything he's shown? He couldn't beat even like Green Bull. He was vibing in the back. He knew Green Bull was there. He's like, I'll let them do their job. Him and Sanji and Zoro and Jinbei were just chilling watching. Like I remember I saw those reactions. You said, who does this guy think he is? Green Bull coming in here. Do you know who we are now? We got Luffy. Luffy just
No,
beat Kaido, man.
I know.
Admiral not a threat anymore.
The thing is, I know that. I know that at the bottom of my heart, I know that. But then you have to put in the context that Akainu, the fleet admiral, got that huge scar from one of the actual admirals, from another of the admirals. And then you can't tell me the rest of the admirals don't compare to those top 2 admirals. So that's why it's very hard for me to put any of these folks who are not the true emperors above the admirals. I don't want to have Luffy above an admiral until I see him go toe to toe with at least one of them and do his shit. I want to see it. I want
get
to
it,
see
but
it.
like I know you think emperors. You said it a lot. Like they're way above admirals. And
Yes.
like sure, there's context to Luffy versus Kaido. Like today, is Luffy beating Kaido one-on-one? No, but did he get the job done? Like,
He-
was he tussling with him forever? Yeah. And did he win in the end? Yeah. Were there like hockey? Kaido is the strongest guy in the world, quoting strongest beast in
Creature.
the world.
Yes.
Did I mean, were they clashing? Hockey clashes, splitting the sky? Is an admiral doing that? I don't think so.
Nah,
With
yeah, we
Kaido,
haven't seen no admirals split, no skies.
they're getting split in half if they try and do that.
Ay, ay,
Like,
ay. I mean, I would, but I'd really have to think about it.
it's insane to say Luffy's top 10 like here in the story, but then again, like how much of the story do we have left?
Who's your 5?
Okay, my 5 is okay because I added Luffy, he wasn't on my list. I'm gonna combine the next two because I think it makes sense in my head, and that's Garp and Big Mom.
Ay, 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 ay. How does that make sense? No, you're really gonna have to explain this because I want it to make sense, but how does this make sense? I
Okay,
can,
who is
I can
Garp
almost
compared to throughout the whole story? Who is his rival?
Roger.
Yeah, like say Roger was theoretically alive today. Would you not have him somewhere up here?
You'd be in the
This is
old
the guy who's
era.
been
No, I'm kidding.
portrayed as
Yeah.
Roger's equal.
Ay, ay, ay.
What did he do to Marco in the war? He just smacked him like his little fly.
Yeah.
But what did he do to what did he say
Out
he was
the
gonna do to
sky.
Akainu? He said, "You better hold me down, Sengoku. I'm gonna kill this boy." I think he meant it too. That's why he's above Akainu.
And you
Garp
still
is like
have
he's
him
a
above
legend. He's a
Luffy?
legendary hero. He's been around the block. He fought Roger. They were rivals. And then I think in my head, if Roger was alive today, do I think he'd be the strongest ever? No. He's old. Garp is 78 now. I know a lot of people would probably disagree where I have Garp.
That's pretty high for Garp, bro. That's pretty high for Garp.
I think just based on what I said and the fact that he saw what he was going to do to Akainu in the war,
And what he did
his
to Marco.
rage fueled. Could he actually do it? I don't know. I think so. I wanna believe so. He was Roger's equal back in the day.
That's not an easy thing to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Explain to me Big Mom over Luffy right now.
I think Big Mom and Kaido are pretty close, even though like Oda portrays her as a goofball, an idiot, but at the end of the day, she's getting 2v1 and she's still the only reason she lost, I'm gonna say it, is because of plot. She lost because of plot.
Exactly.
She's my woman. I love my Big Mom.
I love her
Okay.
too.
Is there a little bias? Yeah, I'm not gonna put her above Kaido, but they're portrayed as equals. They're both emperors. They're both from the older generation. They clash. They split the skies, right? Kind of like Shank, Whitebeard. Is she old after having, or old and big and not as mobile and agile as she used to be after having like a 100 and something kids? Yeah. Okay. Was prime
That's
Big
the
Mom?
Saints that she actually had all those kids.
Yeah. I mean, the way like I don't know if you remember, like before Wano, like Big Mom couldn't even be hurt. Like
Exactly.
no matter what. She took
Exactly.
0 damage in Whole Cake. And the only reason she's getting hurt now is because we have just insane hockey. It's like from Law. He literally is penetrating with his bullshit awakened fruit. And even after all the damage she took, she's still laughing. She's still falling, right? She falls down. She's conscious. And then she falls in a lava pit because that's what Oda wanted to happen to her. If you're scared of her, well, you just instantly lose.
Exactly.
She has all her homies, her insane homies. Her DC, her destructive capabilities are off the charts.
Amazing. That fucking misery. I loved that misery fruit smacking the shit out of Kid. Big Mom, let me join you, okay? In your fucking, because Big Mom is my number 4.
Okay.
I truly love Big Mom. The idea of being free and doing the thing that you want. Big Mom takes that to the ultimate level because she goes on her hunger pangs, right? When she decides she wants it, it's not like a let's go get it. It's I want it now or everyone in my path gets destroyed. That is Big Mom.
She took that insane attack from Nami and Zeus when they're running away in the forest, and it sent her into the ground, and it was like a massive explosion. And then what is she doing to chase them? She's running like through the ground. Like she's just an unstoppable monster. And I like that as like a concept of a character. They're not very like agile, but they're just like they're such a tank. Like they cannot take damage. I like that a lot. And it was really shown, like again, I keep saying this, but like when she was falling down, she was shown to take a lot of damage. She coughed up blood for the first time in the series, and she's still conscious. She's thinking about Roger.
Exactly.
She could have gone for round 10, man. And that was like we talked about earlier, like King versus like I don't know, maybe like Sanji or something. It's a battle of endurance versus stamina, and that's kind of what the Big Mom fight was.
For the entire time that Big Mom was fighting the both of them, especially Kid, and this just goes to poo Kid's just the whole situation, because Kid is just like, I'm going to use all of the metal and I'm going to push you a little further back. But how much can you continue to do that? But we're done poo-pooing Kid because he kind of is just truly disappointing. There was just one time that I was like, oh shit, they got her, right? Is when she broke her arm. And then when she
And
was
then what did
like,
she do? She fixed that shit with her homies.
Immediately, I was like, it's over for Kid-in-Law. They can't win.
Even on top of Onigashima, she fell off.
Oh, she fell off. That's how
Yeah.
you the only way you could beat her is just move her out of the way.
Yeah, it's like she's comparable to Kaido. Do I think Luffy is beating Kaido 1v1? No. And for that reason, I don't think he's beating Big Mom either. That's why I had to put Big Mom still above Luffy.
I don't see it.
My number 4 is you're gonna like this one. It's Dragon.
Okay. Well, I'll let you. You know how I feel about this fucking bum. Yo,
I also think he's a bum. He hasn't moved. He's like the Gorosei though. Okay,
yes!
You put the Gorosei in the top 10. They've moved less than Dragon, so I can have my Dragon in top 5. It's
fair.
only fair.
That's only fair.
And you said it yourself. A lot of people agree that he's top 5, and just story wise, he has to be top 5. At some point, he's gonna do something, and we're gonna be like, oh, holy shit! Why haven't you done this? 500 chapters ago.
What is your best guess for a dragon? Is there even a hope for you, or like a type of devil fruit that he has? Like, what is
weather-based fruit? If it's the wind, or if it's like the storm. Because when he saves Luffy, it's like the wind's going crazy. And when he saves Sabo, and we get the flashback of him actually saving Sabo, he's literally holding him with wind. When he saves Luffy the first time, which is up for debate, but it seems pretty obvious given that he came right after to save Luffy from Smoker. When he saves him from Buggy, when he's about to cut off his head, it's a lightning bolt. So can he literally control lightning then?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of wild. That's Big Mom shit.
Wild. Yeah,
Tornadoes, can he do like ice storms or something? Like there's a lot of potential. I don't know where he's going to be in the hockey department. I mean, he definitely has conquerors just based on like
just
his role in the story. I mean, if
he's above Sabo, yeah. I mean, he has to have conquerors.
Yeah, I really just want to see him do something. I'm
exactly.
Right there with
just
you,
literally anything. Just do something that's not just showing up in the fucking wind like some fucking ghost, bro.
Yeah.
My number 3 is Kaido. I love this man. Obviously, it's recency bias. I think Wano was probably my favorite arc of all time. And like the amount of people that were constantly going at him, right? From the Scabbards to Yamato to Luffy, the Zoro and Killer, like all of it. The entire fucking rooftop was people going at Kaido and failing. And then just the other day, because I love watching my favorite moments or whatever. If I can just remind y'all folks back home, the introduction to Kaido, the man was falling from a sky island. He gets up and he says, "My head hurts." How did Whitebeard get away with dying? His goal is to die. He is so bored. He is so bored with the world that he's currently living in that he's trying to kill himself. And then the narrator, my favorite narrator from any shonen in the history of shonen, he says he's been caught by the Navy 40 times. He's been going at the other emperors 10 or 15 times. And like, the spears would break, the guillotine would shatter, the chain would rip apart when they tried to hang him. He ends the whole thing with saying Kaido's the strongest creature alive. I love him so much. I love having Kaido as one of the emperors.
He's a beast. As you can see, he's not on my list yet, which means he's got to be there somewhere in the top.
That's right.
3, you would hope so, at least. He went through so much in that arc, and he just nonstop fought the Scabbards. He didn't take a break. He fought, the whole worst, generation that was on the roof.
Exactly.
Beat Luffy's ass like 3 times. He did not take a break during any of this. Then he fought Yamato, and then Luffy gets a sucker punch on him when he comes back. Right? And he fights Luffy. He beats Luffy how many times did he beat Luffy? Like 3 times. And Luffy had a break. Luffy's like shonen logic. He eats food, he's at 100%. He ate some food. He came back. Kaido's still at like 50% because he's been fighting the whole time. Luffy gets the most insane power, but I said he's spiked so much to kind of catch up to Kaido. It's
and just the last thing about that is Luffy in Gear 5th, Kaido was holding his fucking own. And like even at the peak of it, like right before they went at each other for the last time, Kaido screamed at Luffy, "Your power is ridiculous. I don't know what the fuck is happening, but your devil fruit will never beat me. It has to be Haki." Like, that's when I knew that Kaido was not going to go down unless it was like the ultimate shit. So like anyone disrespecting Kaido, you have no idea what you're talking about. You just don't. You just don't.
Hey,
Who's your number 3?
Mihawk.
Oh, okay.
World's strongest swordsman.
Ah,
He has to be one of the strongest people in the show based on his title alone. He used to fight Shanks back in the day. He has a 3.5 billion bounty without any crew or any goal to conquer land or anything. And the government still holds him at such a threat to where he's only 500 million below Shanks.
do we know who was considered the best swordsman prior to Mihawk? Has that ever been mentioned? No.
No.
Okay. So if we wanted to guess, let's pretend, let's say it was Rayleigh.
I mean, I don't know. Let me see
Would
how
that
old
be
Mihawk is.
the
No, because Roger is a swordsman, so we could say Roger. And
okay,
then
well,
your point would
okay,
go out the
no,
window.
okay. Let's not say it was Rayleigh then, but let's say it was Rayleigh. Like, let's say Roger wasn't like a full-on swordsman. He was like a Shanks type of character, right? It wasn't all about the sword. He's the hockey dude.
We're gonna get into this debate. This is a classic debate.
No, but my point is, if you're talking about prime Rogers' time, right? Would you have Rayleigh, who would be the greatest swordsman in his time, Roger being the pirate king, the Luffy and Zoro like situation? Would you ever have Rayleigh in the top 3 of his prime days? Do you know what I'm trying to say here? Like at the end of One Piece, when Luffy is the pirate king, would you have Zoro top 3?
No, you wouldn't.
I know for my list, even if you were to take the 5 elders away, that Mihawk might be a little low. But you can't have Mihawk top 3 if Zoro's not going to be top 3 at the end of One Piece.
I mean, he could be.
I guess that's fair.
I'm not even a huge Zoro fan. I don't know.
If you honestly believe that Zoro at the end of One Piece will be at like Emperor level, because you believe currently that Mihawk right now is above. Oh no, Mihawk is Emperor. Yeah, Mihawk's Emperor level. He's with Big Mom. So
I just think it's fair. I mean, he fought Shanks, and Shanks is an emperor. I have to put them somewhat close.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
They're good buds. They drink with each other. His bounty's insane. Like your bounty isn't always based on strength. It's based on like a ton of factors. But like I feel like Mihawk's has to just kind of be based on strength because he doesn't want the One Piece.
He doesn't do anything.
He goes in the East Blue to chase down pirates because he's bored, right? He just does his own thing. He's been a solo pirate the entire series. He's not the captain. He doesn't want the One Piece. He's not like he's portrayed as the strongest. He's portrayed as someone who fought Shanks. If we think Shanks is top 2, which he probably is for you,
yes,
then Mihawk has to be close by for sure.
You said it. Shanks is my number 2. And then I have Emu as my number 1. And I think Emu is my number 1 just because I get all the Kaguya vibes from Emu. Emu's the one staring at this huge straw hat. We know that the straw hat means something important to the lore of the story. Emu is too entangled with everything that matters most. 400 years ago, 5 elders are protecting Emu. No one has ever sat in the seat, and then he's the one that's sitting in the seat. It's like the fucking Game of Thrones shit with all the swords coming out of it. I mean, there's too much for me to say. But then, last but not least, just Shanks stopping the Marineford War, coming in there like scratch free. He prevented Kaido from going to the Marineford War, then stopped the Marineford War. I don't know what you said about his fucking hockey. I loved what you said, but the hockey that stopped Green Bull,
the Wi-Fi hockey.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi hockey like that. I mean,
Oda just loves Shanks too much.
It's too much to handle, right? Like it's too much. Even if I wanted to, because I almost love Shanks as much as Oda does, but even if I wanted to put him at number 1, I would have needed Shanks to be sitting down with Emu in that conversation when he went to Marie Joie versus talking to the elders when he went to go talk to them. So that's why I have him as number 2 and Emu at number 1.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like I said, I didn't have the 5 elders or Emu just because I don't know if they could fight. I don't know how well they can fight. Emu could just be protected because they need to be protected because maybe they can't fight. Do we think Emu has been around since the Void Century? Like maybe
that's something I get a vibe of. Like I feel that way. Yeah.
Can a person that old
even move?
How are they that old and can they fight anymore? Like, or do they just sit in a chair and play with butterflies in the room? I don't know.
The disrespect is endless.
It's just someone that again should be in the I want to see more of category. Like I know Dragon can fight, right? I don't know if Emu can fight.
So I'm confused at who your. Oh no, so I do know who your 2 and 1 is, right?
You want to guess my order?
Yeah, it's going to be Kaido and Shanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, I mean, Shanks is not losing to Kaido. I mean, that's not happening.
I think they're pretty neck and neck. It's hard to say because Shanks just kind of flexes, and we've seen Kaido go pretty much all out. But
Let me ask you this, because I'll give you the runway to tell me more about how you feel about Shanks. You don't actually think that Kaido and Shanks had an actual like fight, right? You think Shanks just convinced Kaido not to go with logic, right? Because I have a very hard time believing that Shanks actually fought Kaido. And if you do think that he physically stopped Kaido, do you think it was that drastic of a difference in power where he can show up to the Marineford War unscathed?
I
If
think
if
there's
that
some context too, because I think
Go
it
ahead.
was just Kaido and it was Shanks and his whole crew. They may have had like a clash, and he's like, "Oh, blah blah, this is like not worth it." Like, and I got all the boys here. Like, you kind of don't stand a chance.
Oh, I
And I
see.
think it ultimately ended with talking. Yeah, but I think there could have been like a clash or something, honestly. But I
Okay,
think just narratively speaking, it's probably Shanks as
as a
mystery
better.
number one. And honestly, our lists aren't that different if you take out the five elders and you take out Emu. Like, there's a lot of
There's very much similarity. I just don't
yeah.
respect Mihawk as much as you do. But you're right. Our lists aren't that far apart if you take out the emus and the five elders.
Yeah, see, you had those old guys in, but then you wouldn't have Sengoku, and you wouldn't have Garp, and you wouldn't have Rayleigh for some reason. Like,
Yo, that's the old era. I'm telling you guys, that's the old era. Last thing, just about Shanks and prior to the time skip, when all we knew about hockey was the fucking Luffy doing the Marineford War and Boa Hancock, right? And Rayleigh was doing his teaching of Luffy right before the skip. The scene where he breaks Whitebeard's ship always like it was so cool. It
yeah, like does
was
that is like Luffy even like damage stuff
that's
with hockey? Like,
exactly
no, like Shanks just on another level with hockey.
another. No one has ever done
Like,
any physical
anytime he does
damage.
something, it just no one has done it yet. Like, he
Yeah.
does things for the first time every 500 chapters we see him. He'll do something new and cool, and then we won't see him again for 500 chapters.
and then the last thing, because this is the thing that everyone is just insanely confused by. Just your best version of explaining him losing his arm, please,
I mean,
please, like for real.
my best explanation is that so when you're writing a manga, especially these days, it's super competitive, and your stories are like they can get axed if they don't like if people aren't picking them up in the first few weeks. So, and Oda stated that he thought like eventually the end game people would be the warlords, not the emperors, and that the story would be
Oh,
a lot shorter. Like, Alabasta was like might have been like almost halfway through the entire story. But then in Oda fashion, like he said, "Oh, I'm gonna end the story in 10 years. I'm gonna end it in 5 years. I'm gonna end it in like, oh, it's 80% done." He said that like 10 years ago. Like, so people fell in love with it. He had more he wanted to do with the story. And I think it's just one of those things that it's like chapter
okay.
one. It
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 literally
doesn't
just
it doesn't
slipped.
like yeah, it
Yeah,
doesn't really hold up, and like things like power scaling wise just got kind of out of control. Oh, and the only really
I,
logical
and I
explanation
think
of
and
it.
I think that is probably the real answer. And I think even in the story, Oda tried to like cover his ass, but I don't know who Shanks was talking to, but the person who was talking to Shanks was like, "You gave up that right arm for the next generation." So it sounded like
Yeah,
he
I mean, I was
purposely
gonna say
give,
that too.
yeah, because like I think that would be like a cool thing, kind of, but it's a little insane. You can't give up your
Yeah, I
fucking arm.
mean, I don't know if he's willing to give up his arm to
Yeah.
like, I mean, I don't know, to inspire Luffy. I mean, like, because it leaves a lot of question marks with what he knew about the devil fruit. And I mean, he knew something, he stole it off the ship. And
Yeah.
if like, did he like intentionally leave it out for Luffy? Like, did he put all his hopes and dreams like into Luffy because he saw like potential? And was like him losing an arm like part of this grand plan? I like ultimately it's Oda covering his ass, but like, you know,
Thank you so fucking much for doing this with me. That's like just
yeah, this
thank
was
you, thank you,
fun.
thank you. I just want to make sure everyone gets to see my crazy ass list that I have over here. If you guys like it, please hit the and then comment and tell me how amazing my list is and how I was so right and won every conversation discussion with Lucas. And if you do like this, because I adore doing these deep dive conversations about One Piece. I mean, it's the only show I do a reaction to. It's the only thing I'm going to forever do. So if you like it, let me know down below, and Lucas and I can link up and talk about some other things if Lucas is free. But until next time, deuces.